Welcome to Idea TV News at 9. I am Chinatu Ojila speaking with the headlines. REMI TINUBU launches empowerment program for persons with disabilities in ANAMBRA. Fire guts market as electrical fault suspected. Sudan's humanitarian crisis deepens as famine spreads and millions displaced. Kenyan parliament accuses British soldiers of decades of abuse and rights violations. Away from Africa. Trump administration pauses immigration applications from 19 high-risk countries in business. CBN introduces new cash withdrawal limits, scraps deposit cap nationwide. And sports, RUNSEWE to lead Nigeria as Yellow Greens begin West Africa Trophy title defense. Now the news in full. Nigeria's First Lady Senator REMI TINUBU has unveiled the empowerment program for persons living with disabilities in Anambra State. The initiative, part of the nationwide Renewed Hope Social Investment Program, offers 200,000 Naira business recapitalization grants to 250 beneficiaries in each state and the FCT. The program was launched on Wednesday at the Lighthouse in Awka, Anambra State, coinciding with the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. It was implemented in Anambra by Dr. Noye Suludu, represented by the Deputy Governor's wife, Lady Oluchi Ibezim. The initiative aims to promote inclusive economic growth by strengthening the livelihoods of PWDs and supporting small business owners. An estimated 9,500 people across Nigeria will benefit, amounting to 1.9 billion naira in financial support. The program will now be held annually every December 3rd to mark the Global Day dedicated to disability inclusion. Moving on, a fire outbreak at the market has left traders counting heavy losses as authorities continue investigation into the cause of the incident. Although the exact trigger has not been officially confirmed, eyewitnesses' accounts such as the blaze may have been sparked by an electric fault, possibly from fallen power cables that came into contact with roofing sheets. The fire, which began late in the day, caught many shop owners unprepared, spreading rapidly and through the densely packed stalls. Efforts by traders and residents to put out the flames proved unsuccessful, largely due to the high combustible nature of the materials in the area, including wood, makeshift structures, and stored building supplies. As the fire intensified, it extended beyond the market, affecting nearby residential buildings. Some occupants were forced to flee their homes to avoid being trapped, adding to the chaos and panic around the scene. Officials of the Federal Fire Service eventually arrived and managed to bring the situation under control, preventing further destruction. Despite this intervention, many traders lost goods worth millions of naira, leaving them devastated. Those affected have appealed to both state and federal authorities for support, saying the incident has wiped out their only source of livelihood and left many unsure of how to rebuild without immediate assistance. Meanwhile, Sudan is now facing the world's largest humanitarian crisis, with more than 14 million people forced from their homes as conflict-driven famine and disease worsen across the country. The crisis began in April 2023 when fighting erupted between the Sudanese military and the Rapid Support Forces, plunging Khartoum and several regions into devastating civil war. The World Food Programme has warned that over 20 million people are experiencing severe food insecurity, with famine already unfolding in El Fasher and Kadugli. WFP Deputy Executive Director Carl Scow urged global and regional powers to push for a ceasefire or humanitarian pause, stressing that aid workers are struggling to cope with rising needs and dwindling resources. Despite reaching more than 4 million people each month, humanitarian agencies say the scale of the crisis remains overwhelming. Rights groups continue to call on all parties to halt hostilities, and millions remain desperate for food, medical care, and safe passage. Kenya's parliament has accused British Army training unit in Kenya, Batuk soldiers, of committing decades of sexual abuse, killings, environmental damage, and human rights violations in local communities. The allegations were detailed in a new 94-page report based on testimonies from victims, community leaders, civil society groups, and public agencies. The findings were released in Nairobi after a 2-year parliamentary inquiry focusing on Laikipia and Samburu counties, where British soldiers have trained for decades. The report also revisited high-profile cases, including the 2012 murder of Agnes Wanjiru and the killing of Herda Tilam Leresh. Lawmakers said abuses persisted due to weak accountability structures, diplomatic immunity claims, and gaps in the Kenya-UK military cooperation agreements. The committee now recommends a revised Defense Pact, stricter oversight, and a new code of conduct to ensure justice for victims, environmental compliance, and responsibility for abandoned children allegedly fathered by UK soldiers. Let's go on a quick break now. The news continues on the other side.
Continuous Threat Exposure Countermeasure, CTEM. CTEM tools enable organizations to continuously monitor and address vulnerabilities in real time. This proactive approach helps businesses stay ahead of cyber threats and comply with security standards. While CTEM systems are improving cybersecurity, managing them can be resource-intensive. Sectors like finance, healthcare, and government are adopting these tools to protect sensitive data.
Welcome back. You've just joined in. News at 9 continues. Away from Africa, the United States has suspended immigration applications from 19 countries labeled high risk under new directive by the Trump administration. The policy released yesterday by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services follows a shooting incident involving an Afghan national and heightened political pressure over immigration security. The pause affects green card and citizenship applications from countries already under partial or full travel bans, including Afghanistan, Somalia, Sudan, Eritrea, Libya, Chad, Sierra Leone, Togo, and others. USCIS said all applicants from these nations must undergo a comprehensive review process to assess potential national security or public safety threats. Immigration lawyers reported the cancellation of interviews and naturalization ceremonies as the changes took effect immediately. Critics say the measures amount to collective punishment, while analysts argue the policy shows administration is prepared to make even deeper cuts to legal immigration pathways. In business now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced new nationwide cash withdrawal limits and abolished the cumulative cash deposit cap for customers. In a circular issued on December 2, 2025 and signed by Dr. Rita Sike, Director of Financial Policy and Regulation, the Apex Bank said the policy review was necessary to cut cash handling costs, strengthen security, and reduce money laundering risk in an economy so dependent on physical currency. Under the updated rules, individuals may withdraw a maximum of 500,000 weekly, while corporate organizations are limited to 5 million naira across ATMs. POS terminals and over-the-counter channel withdrawals above these limits will attract excess charges of 3% for individuals and 5% for corporates, while the previous monthly waivers of 5 million and 10 million naira respectively have been discontinued. The CBN also confirmed that the former cumulative deposit limit has been removed, meaning customers will no longer pay penalties for depositing cash above previous thresholds. The bank said the adjustment reflects current economic realities and is expected to boost deposits, improve liquidity, and support wider adoption of electronic payment systems. In sports, Nigeria's senior men's cricket team, the Yellow Greens, will be led by wicketkeeper Suleiman RUNSEWE as they begin their title defense at the 2025 West Africa Trophy. Head coach Steve Tikolo announced the 14-man squad that includes new additions alongside experienced players such as Sylvester Okpe and Isaac Okpe. The championship will take place in Abuja, with Nigeria opening their campaign against Zambia on Thursday. The team will also face Sierra Leone on December 5th and Rwanda on December 6th in the round-robin stage of the tournament. Nigeria enters the competition aiming to retain the title they first claimed in 2023 after defeating Rwanda in the final. Despite the absence of record-holding fast bowler Peter Ho, who is engaged in the ILT 20 Season 4, the squad blends youth and experience to strengthen their chances in the regional showdown. That's all we have for your news at 9. Before we go, a recap of the headlines. REMI TINUBU launches empowerment program for persons with disabilities in ANAMBRA. Fire God's market as electrical fault suspected. Sudan's humanitarian crisis deepens as famine spreads and millions displaced. Kenyan parliament accuses British soldiers of decades of abuse and rights violations. Away from Africa, Trump administration pauses immigration applications from 19 high-risk countries. In business, CBN introduces new cash withdrawal limit, scraps deposits cap nationwide. In sports, RUNSEWE to lead Nigeria as Yellow Greens begin West Africa Trophy title defense. Do not forget to follow us across the different social media platforms at Idea TV. I am Chinatu Oji. Thank you for your time.